All right, guys, so you see the trade recap. We're down 2% today. And all right, so here is the account. We took two trades today. One was for a win of 145, and the other one was a loss. And the reason this loss was 2%, it would have been 3% if I won't lie to you. It's because I closed the account and I didn't realize that the trades would have been flattened out. So I closed the account expecting the trade to still be in place, but like me unable to like do anything about the trade. And eventually just closed everything out. So let's show you guys that execution. So I'll show you the first execution. This one was the first trade right here. Clear draw right here, clear buy side objective. I took one contract right here, and then eventually we wrote it up to that, buy side objective, and boom, it hit. I should have been done for the day right there, but then eventually my greedy self was like, okay, that one trade wasn't enough. It was only 145. I should have just called it there. 145. We were making progress on the account. That would have put us up like around 180. Let's say 180. That would have been 180. We would only need 1,200 more to pass the account. But then eventually I got greedy and I was like, all right, hold on, wait, it swept the buy side and now it's sweeping the sell side objective. It's making this inversion and it broke above this high. We're probably going to form, like it's clear change in the state of delivery. And we eventually bought. We bought right here. And then eventually the market went up, and our take profit was just like a little bit above here to pass the account. And then eventually it came back down, and that's when I closed the account once we made this inversion, because I was like, all right. And we had another inversion form here. So we had a smaller inversion. Oh, and my stop loss was right here at the balance price range. But we made this inversion happen, and boom, closed the account right here, and eventually flattened the trade right around here somewhere. And then eventually the market went up and it came back down, and it never swept the low. I think we had SMT. Or something, and then eventually the market went up and it started to push up higher. I don't know where I could have found another trade idea here to push us up, but my bias was originally bullish for the day, but I just don't know where. Maybe at this change in the state of delivery, but there was no clear fair value gaps here. This one got inverse, and then eventually started to just respect it and push up higher. Sloppy price action. I think after we swept or broke above that high, that would have been the best trade idea to this buy side objective. And then eventually, this is relative equal highs, I'm saying? This is a clear objective. I was aiming for this, and then eventually this one up here, which is like London highs for the standard deviation targets too. But those buy side objectives were mainly really at these two. And yeah, the market just never really respected that fair value gap, and eventually it just came, it would have stopped me out, and then eventually it would have pushed up higher and not sweep the low. So pretty unfortunate, I won't lie to you. All right, so yeah, that was the trade idea. And let's hide every single drawing. Let's go over my analysis as to why I was even bullish in the first place. So on the 4-hour time frame, we have a 4-hour buy side imbalance. We have, our external objectives right here. Internal, we're inside of an internal array. What do you see? 4-hour CRT form, and 10 o'clock came up, and eventually pushed down lower, and then now it's pushing up higher. We should have waited for the 10 a.m. open instead of trading, 5 minutes after New York open. On the 1-hour time frame, we have a 1-hour sell side imbalance, which again was another drawn liquidity with this high, and then eventually this is like the final objective. Again, breaking market structure, pushing lower, having bearish order flow on the lower time frame. That's why you want to wait for a confirmation, what a change in the state of delivery, maybe on the 15-minute time frame, which we did get, which was a inversion for value gap, sweeping the lows, respecting the inversion until we disrespected it and closed below, and then eventually 10 a.m. open up, we pushed up higher. But again, this market wasn't really the best one to trade. On the 30-minute time frame, we did also have an inversion here, which was a better confluence with the breaking market structure. So we should have been waiting for that. And then we also had 30-minute CRT here. So when eventually 9 a.m. open, pushed up higher, that's where the trade idea came into place for the first one. 5-minute time frame, you can see the market is just chopping. And again, this is where I lose majority of my trades whenever we're range bound and we start chopping back and forth. That's where I lose my trade, because I enter at the high, expect the market to continue breaking highs and continue to the buy side objective. And whenever the price action is clean, it does. But then eventually, whenever it's not, it just chops me, and then we start to lose. 3-minute time frame, 3-minute change in the state of delivery. You can see the market came back down and disrespected. It didn't sweep the low though. ES also didn't sweep the low. And then yeah, that's pretty much really it. I think ES chopped a lot more than NQ. You can see that there. And then eventually on the 2-minute time frame, again, no fair value gaps, nothing. The market just chopped around, and then eventually it broke above the highs and it started to push up higher. You have a small little fair value gap here, which probably could have been your entry right there, that tap. And then eventually the market just pushes up higher, and then eventually that, but it already met the buy side objective. But then the 1-hour time frame, I guess it also got met too though. So it really just depends, if you're aiming for this, I guess that would have been your final target. So yeah, the best trade would have been on YM. So if I'm being truly honest, this one would have had the best trade idea. So if we go to the 4-hour time frame, again, we have an internal objective right here, and then eventually on the 1-hour time frame, we're bearish, we're breaking lows. And then on the 30-minute time frame, this is where you usually would find the high quality setup. So we're set up a 30-minute sell side imbalance, and we also have 30-minute CRT forming. And then eventually on the 3-minute time frame, we had a 3-minute bearish BPR form and a change in the state of delivery with this fair value gap. Once you have you have this change in state of delivery, you enter right there, and then you have your stops at the high, and then the market pushes down lower heavily. On the 1-minute time frame, you had another 1-minute bearish BPR right there form. Could have entered at that, and then eventually that would have been your 10 a.m. manipulation, and then the market moves down lower. You target these lows, and that would have been your trade idea. If not, you use standard deviations up here, and target lower prices, which eventually are being met right now. And again, due to SMT, the ES is just like chopping around. YM is moving lower, NQ is moving up higher. It's one of those days where the market is just uncorrelated, and it's very hard to trade those type of days. Whenever the market's moving in sync, it's usually easier. But that's pretty much really it. I'm gonna journal this, call it a day here, and just learn from it, I guess. So that's really it. I think the YM trade would have been a lot better than this one, but it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much really it.